Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to the Friday night edition of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Our Keith Andrews of the ET Connection. Once again, the conductor of the Woo Train is back. I know you're excited. I am. Hour 3, Lee Strauss will be here. Tranche number 5 was released today, and what a joke. What a joke. We'll get into that later on, but first, let's say hello to each and every one of you. We got Kitty Caddywhack in the gold medal position. Mel WD-40 lubing us up for tonight's show because you always want to go into a show with our Keith Andrews. Nice and smooth. Keith needs his sideburns lubed up. So Mel is over at Keith's house lubing him up as we speak. Don't forget to give yourself a little shot. Mel also taking home the silver medal tonight. T-Bone, my man, with a bronze medal as well. Race fan, how you doing? Nice to see you. Thunderhead, Robert Lamoth, nice to have you here. Frankie B, good to have you here. And extra small Lee Strauss is around somewhere too. Lisa Smith and Necessary Dialogue, thank you for coming on in. Honest Content and Gear Jammers, good to have you both here. Michael Morris is here. Michael Morris will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. The stunning, the effervescent Deanna Ann, how are you? Nice to see you, my friend. Thanks for coming on in. And Chris Irvin, nice to have you here. Luscious Jewels, how are you? Number 14 in your program tonight, starting at center ice from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jansson. There he is. Mark Wolf, how you doing? Jaquetta, thanks for coming on in as we continue on with our roll call here tonight. Good morning, Skip to Malou. Have you slept yet? Just out of curiosity. Have you slept? Doug Shelby is here. Doug Shelby has arrived. So we can officially start this show. What do you mean? Is that Dave when his hair was long? Yeah, Dave's hair was longer back then. Let's see here. The Ferret, nice to see you. Jeremy, nice to have you here. Shogun, thanks for coming on in tonight. As we continue on with our roll call, Lacey Blue, it's nice to see you again. And let's see, who else do we have here? Did I do the who's signing autographs? I did Michael Morris. Lacey, you haven't signed autographs in a while. Lacey will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. She doesn't like eye contact. Make eye contact, she won't sign. It's in her contract. Carol Amario, thanks for coming on in. As we scroll on down, Tim Mothman and his goatee are here. Nice to have you back, Tim. Meemaw Flowers, nice to see you. Who else do we have? We have Dunzel, we have K17 Odd, and who else is here? Oh, let's get out of the way. And who else do we have? Oh, J Truth, good to see you. First Contact, thanks for coming on in. No, it was, I'm not impressed with this tranche. Not impressed at all. Let's see here. Let's see here. Are you guys buffering again? Steve Garvey is here. He'll hit a home run for you. Undead Jed, nice to see you. Archon, thanks for coming on in. Walter Kochabinski, thanks for joining us. Let's get the radio side going. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We are having our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection coming up here momentarily. But first, we're in roll call on our YouTube side as we say hello to Rono Nice to have you here, Rono We're all caught up, by the way. All caught up. We'll just sit here and stare at each other. Louise, how are you? That's right. That's right. Super chat is open. Wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Hi, Claudette. How are you? And we're going to get going here in like 8 seconds. 8 seconds. Throw those horns up, everybody. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears to what's really happening next. We're together, friends. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Caribou Con. You can get your tickets right now for Caribou Con, British Columbia's only paranormal conference in 2026, September 18th through 20th, right here in the heart of BC. Go to cariboucon.com. Get your tickets today. We're going to have an amazing show tonight. It's all about alien contact for the next couple of hours. Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continue as he comes in each and every month at this time. In hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will join us with another creepy story. We will follow that up with, oh my goodness, Lee Strauss, the extra small one. We're going to be breaking down tranche number 5. And let me tell you, you know, when you have a rookie baseball player who comes up from the minors and he is absolutely lighting it up his first couple of games, and then he just falls right back into the tank. Well, that is tranche number 5 in a nutshell. We'll get to that and more as the night goes on. I love it when our Keith Andrews is on this show. He's been with me doing this at least once a month for the last decade. And what do we talk about? Extraterrestrial contact, alien abduction, UFOs, alien species, and all sorts of woo that gets you excited each and every night, because we all know this is why you tune into this show. You want the weird, you want the strange, you want the anomalous, and you want your woo. Keith is a psychic, intuitive, who has been a lifelong ET contactee. He now literally spends his days helping counsel people who've had their own contact, giving them answers that they may not find on Google, in a book, or watching YouTube channels. Keith is very well known within this community. He's from Kelowna, British Columbia, where we are broadcasting on AM 1150 Talk Radio. We love you, Kelowna. Stay safe from the forest fires while you're there. Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. Glad to have you back, my friend. How are you?
Just great there, Dave, and quite happy to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you here as well, my friend. Are you safe from the forest fires down there?
Aside from the smoke, we're fine. The fires are literally everywhere else.
Well, just
I'm
north
quite
of you
happy
in
because
Vernon.
2003 we evacuated half our city, a third of our city.
Well, you know what? Vernon, just north of you, is
Yeah.
in a lot of trouble right now. I know south of me is burning like anything. We're being hammered with smoke now. I mean, it is getting so hard to breathe. So hard. You can't even go outside.
Well, you can.
Here.
You just can't breathe when you get there.
No, it kind of sucks. I'll be honest.
You know?
It kind of sucks.
But I do feel for the people that are being evacuated for it.
Well, you know what? We're going to get into some ET contact here, man. Because I know that's what you love. That's what you do. How did it all start for you when you, as an adult? I know you've mentioned your story as a kid a number of times, hundreds of times on this show. Okay, but as an adult, when did you start taking it seriously that you wanted to help other people who were having their own contact?
I think, in all fairness, it was always there, but it became a prominent issue the first time I went down to Penticton, which is about an hour south of here, to a Roswell UFO conference. And when I went down there, I was just talking to people like I usually do. And I got talking to this one young lady and laid out the Roswell site. She stopped and she looked at me and she goes, "How did you lay that out? Like, how did you know that was a setup?" I said, "Because I was there." Right. My last lifetime, I actually saw the Roswell incident. And I said, "Why? Why are you so upset? And what are you so, shocked by?" She goes, "My grandfather was on that site." And she goes, "What you laid out was never published." I said, "Oh. Well, that would explain a lot," but I said, "No, that's just the way things work." But, I found out at that point that I knew more about what was going on than a lot of people seem to think. And in all fairness, more than I thought that I knew. That was when I found out that Roswell and the whole Hopi Indian, legend were connected. Both of which were very real. But when I got talking to people down there and they were asking questions, I was just going, like I do here, here's the answer you're looking for. I found there were so many that were just completely lost and out of their depth that it seemed only reasonable to give them some sort of clarity, if at all possible. And in all fairness, I was thinking that I couldn't possibly have this much info until I started getting corroboration from other people that had gone through it. That happened to be on site or happen to have had that kind of experience. And then it was just one thing led to another. But the reality is, I've never thought through the answers. People ask me a question, I just spit the answer out. And as you saw, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, you quoted a question. Somebody asked why they should believe me. And without really creating a problem, let's just say my response, if you recall correctly, Dave, was a little less than politically correct.
I want to ask you, in regards to helping people, Keith, you get a lot of people who don't understand truly what is going on with them, whether they've had contact for the first time and they've just realized it, or contact for a lifetime. How do you take somebody through that journey so that way they understand?
Well, the first thing you have to do is acknowledge the fact that that's what they feel they've gone through, without sitting there going, "Oh, you're just making it up to get attention." And I see way too many people in the mainstream that actually do that. But the first thing you've got to do is let them know you're taking their rendition seriously. And then, in my case, I call back on the past experience I've had and the number of different abductees I've talked to help them find out that Yeah, it doesn't make it better, but at least they're not in a unique position, so somebody can accept what they're going through. You know, the reality is the thing that throws most people for a loop is that they don't know if what they're looking at is real, their imagination, maybe it's a hangover induced thing, and they're looking for anything to give footing to it. And that's where you start. You know, it really varies person to person as far as what they're going through. Because some people are scared absolutely, you know, one step shy of being scared to death. You know, because let's face it, you get abducted and all of a sudden you've got a neat problem. Your sense of security, your sense of safety in your own home is all of a sudden gone. You know, the reality is we're supposed to be able to go home, close the doors, and we're okay. You know, and it doesn't work that way with abductions. I'd love to say it does. But, you know, the thing is, most people do not try and report an abduction for attention purposes. Most abductees, the last thing they're looking for is notoriety. You know, so what you're really doing is just helping them understand that they've gone through a traumatic experience, and then you look for a way to anchor it to help them find out, is it something that they dreamt about, or is it a real event? And way too often.
Let me cut you off there for a second, because I think for a lot of people who are looking in on this, and we're following this UFO story very closely these days, especially over the last couple of years, Keith. And I guess when I look at it, the human mind is a very gentle, you know, piece of, how can we call it? Piece of humanity that is very much not in tune with the UFO aspect or the alien contact aspect of everything. How do you, you know, try and get people to understand that, yes, your emotions are real. Yes, this did happen. Yes, this is something that is very, very truthful that is going on this planet. It's not just you, it's me, it's everybody who has claimed contact.
You know, that's the problem, is because society over the centuries has been told that UFOs don't exist. You know, humans are the big thing. And it's one thing to believe in them. And I've seen people do this where they go, oh, I believe in UFOs. And the first time they actually witness one face to face, they are all of a sudden absolutely stunned and lost. And it really does boil down to helping people understand that there is so little known about the way the human brain works that trying to comprehend an off-world existence is a stretch in and of itself. You know, so you're really having to educate people on the way the human brain works. And most psychiatrists and psychologists, you know, politely put, the moment you throw UFO in, they're lost. Except you get the occasional one that has it locked down and goes, no, I know how that fits. But most of the people that are out there, when you go through it, you can believe as wholeheartedly as you'd like, but it's still extremely disconcerting.
How do people react when they finally come to that realization, Keith, that they are contactees or abductees?
Oddly enough, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Most people are just left standing there bewildered going, how do I live with this? Like, what do I do with it now that it's here? You know, and many will go into denial. No, that just didn't happen. Their brain will not let them wrap around it, so they relegate it to a dream. And when somebody's at a point where they're going, no, it was just a dream, I do not go out of my way to convince them otherwise. You know, sooner or later, I know they're going to come back, or they're going to go looking for answers. But if somebody's convinced themselves that it really is a dream. Honestly, you're better off letting them accept it that way than you are trying to prove the reality behind it.
Our Keith Andrews and the ET connection going on here right now. Keith, as people start to realize this UFO story is real, and we see that happening daily with all the amount of press this has been getting, do you see a time here coming up when people are going to be in more wonderment about ET contact?
It will eventually get to that, but we've got to get one thing sorted out first. And I've said this for a decade here on air, and longer than that. But the mainstream people have got to get away from the idea of fear-mongering about what's going on. Because this is not a frightening, well, it's frightening in as much as it's unusual. But as soon as people can get past the idea that we're actually in danger from them, then the wonderment and the possibilities of what can be brought about all of a sudden become a much more prevalent concept. And the nice little side effect there is as people start to accept that, off-worlders are not here to wipe people out. Oddly enough, the different races of humanity will start to get along a little better as well. I've always said that all things are literally connected, and that's just another one of them.
Keith, how does a person know if they've been taken?
Well, it starts off with just a feeling that something's off. And here's one you can ask yourself. Okay. When you're out walking around, daytime or nighttime, if you feel that you're being watched, take a look at where you're looking. Like if you feel like you're being followed, take a look at where you're looking. Are you looking at the ground behind you? Are you looking at eye level? Or are you looking above? Okay. Now, I'm really hesitant to say certain things because the last thing I desire to do is give people a way of going, oh, I really am being abducted just because this one thing occurs. But it starts off with you going, something happened. Now, one of the most common things you'll find is missing time. And I don't mean you forgot what you were doing. I mean, you literally are losing probably anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour or more. Okay. I know of one case in particular where the person lost 5 days. And you just have to, you start looking at it going, okay, I'm missing this time. Something happened. You may not be able to pin it down. And honestly, that is one of the big things that I end up talking to people about. For obvious reasons, I don't deal with a lot of the direct one-on-one stuff here on air. Because for so many people, it's a personal experience. And to say the least, a little disconcerting.
I can see that. I can totally see that. And, as people get used to the idea that maybe these creatures are coming from outer space or a different dimension or wherever, if they feel that they have been taken, what should they do about it?
Well, number one, really assess what you've gone through, what you feel you've gone through. Absolutely. Find somebody you can talk to. But I will caution you, you want to find somebody that you're close to. A friend that will simply accept what you're saying is not being, oh, you're mentally ill. Or you've got some sort of an addiction problem. This is one of the biggest problems I run into. And I've seen people do it where they, absolutely find somebody to talk to. This does not always mean a UFO specialist. But I will tell you, if you bring it up to somebody and they go, you're just saying that to get attention, clam up and walk away. Don't talk to that person. Okay. And yes, I know I'm direct. I'm blunt about it. I've seen people that have approached professional organizations claiming to work in it. And the moment they say, I think I've been abducted, that or the member of that organization will turn around and go, no, that is impossible. Right? It's just your imagination, or it was a bad dream. This is absolutely detrimental to the individual. And this is why I say find somebody you can trust, which, by the way, is not always a family member. Okay. Again, family members have this problem. If you're being abducted out of the same home, they're going to go into panic in all likelihood. And most of the time, abductions, like we call them abductions, abductions, contactees, collections, there's a lot of different words for it. But when you're being taken against your will and without permission, for the aliens, it is no different than a human scientist collecting up a Bengal tiger, taking blood samples, tagging it, and letting it go. It's the same concept. Humans just don't like being the recipient. Honestly, I don't blame them. Okay, no other species I know of enjoys it either.
We got about 3 minutes to go before we have to go to break. At the bottom of the hour, our Keith Andrews and the ET connection going on right now. Keith, as people start to look at their bodies, because everybody thinks that, there should be markings on you when you get back, whether it's scoop marks, whether it's scratches or little red dots or whatever it may be. How many people actually get those, and compared to how many that don't?
Honestly, I would say maybe 5% actually see them. And that's probably on the high side, because most of the trackers that they use now don't leave marks. The dexospanalizer, which is what the reticulans use, has a very definitive mark. And the reality is they do that so the people are aware they've been taken. Even with the memory overlay, the mark is extremely, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm drawing a blank on the word, but it's very blatantly obvious. But
I don't know.
It's a very unique mark, almost, if you will, like a signature. But the reality is, very few people actually see the mark. Probably another 10% can feel where the implant is, but there won't be a mark on how it got there. And there's a reason for that, especially if you were taken by an Ennead, which is what the Egyptians called the gods. The Ennead have a piece of technology that literally enables them to do an implant without breaking the skin. And this is way beyond what humans know. Although humans are getting better at it.
How are we getting better?
Well, you take a look at medical technology, and I mean the actual mechanical side of it, they're getting more refined in the equipment they're using. They're still, don't take this the wrong way, guys. If you're seeing a doctor and it's working for you, go to them. The reality is they probably know more than you do. But from the medical experience I've run into, off-worlders are head and shoulders over what mankind's figured out.
All right, Keith, we're going to get you to hold on right there, because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. For over a decade, Keith has been appearing on this show to break down everything from ET contact to alien species to all the weird and strange topics that you and me want to know about. Who cares about politics? Who cares about sports? We got alien talk right here on Spaced Out Radio. All right, Keith, we're clear. Jerry
yeah.
Lane, how are you? Moodens Mongol, how are you? I picked over. The lovely and talented Candace Helfrich, how are you? Make sure you put your questions in capital letters. Keith will be making his way to Caribou Con very, very soon. In about 1 month and 11 days, we get going. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, get your ass up here. Saying that, get your ass up here. Warded Dragon, how are you? Scorber, how are you? Yes, our Keith will be at Caribou Con. You could get a picture with his sideburns if you get your tickets right now. You get your tickets right now at cariboucon.com. You could get your picture with our Keith Andrews sideburns. Right, Keith?
I know again. Sorry.
I said that if people go and get their tickets right now at cariboucon.com, they could get a picture with your sideburns.
Absolutely. I'm not looking to get a whole lot of sleep while I'm up there.
And I will tell you this right now, people. Okay, for those who've been to one of our fan parties, the last one we did in Reno with our Keith Andrews was there. Keith is literally one of the nicest people you could ever meet in this world. Literally one of the nicest people. So coming up to Caribou Con just to get a picture with Keith's sideburns and to meet him and say hello, that should be worth it right there. Mikey Does, how you doing? We got about 2.5 minutes, Keith.
Okay. Not clearly, I'm not going very far.
That's all right. I'm playing with my silly putty.
Oh, there you go. I used to play with that, but I don't have any anymore.
I'll tell you, at work the other day, somebody had put a stress ball on my desk.
Yeah.
And so I was playing with it on Wednesday. And the damn thing popped and exploded on me.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That's supposed to help you relax.
Yeah, man. It was like I thought it was shaving cream they put in there, but that ain't shaving cream. Some other kind of weird content. Candace Helfrich, thank you for kicking off the super chat tonight. The super chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you very, very much. Thank you. Candace loves me. She really loves me.
Well, that works out well.
John Jackson, how are you? All right. Got about 40 seconds, Keith.
Yep.
Now the questions are coming in. The people have found their fingers.
I see that.
We're up to 10 questions.
Yeah, I can just picture what's going to happen at the conference.
right? Ten seconds, buddy.
Okie doke.
This is the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continues momentarily, but first we want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreons in the Space Travelers Club. Let's get to our Keith Andrews, the ET Connection, going on right now. Keith, you ready for some audience questions?
Fire away.
All right. I love this comment right off the bat from Whistling Mike in our chat room. Does the Woo train pick you up in the middle of the night like the Polar Express? Yes. Yes, it does. And if it's picking you up in the middle of the night, Whistling Mike, you got aliens. You got aliens. Just accept it. Kicking things off tonight with Shogun. Keith, what would you advise an experiencer who the aliens told him he was a hybrid, asking for a friend?
Number one, take it as a possibility. Okay. I would strongly recommend you don't go to a modern doctor and ask them to check. This is just asking for a complication. But start looking at things like, for instance, your reaction to modern medicine, your type of diet that you've got. Is it a standard diet or are you having odd reactions? Even your sleeping patterns may never have been able to be explained before. So as my older brother put it years ago, treat it as though it's real until you find, but keep an eye open for that one indicator that may derail the whole concept. Okay. But I would strongly suggest you don't go telling people, oh, I'm a hybrid, because you're going to get questions you can't answer. And the last thing I'd like to see anybody go through is end up in some sort of think tank lab to figure out how much of a hybrid you really are.
How do you tell if you're a hybrid?
I like the question. But the reality behind it is it literally boils down to whether or not the majority of what you go through is abnormal by standard methods, if you will. If you look at the majority of people, if people on the whole have a certain diet in your community, and you've got a completely off-kilter one, and I'm not talking about, oh, maybe everybody likes their meat and you're just straight vegetarian. Okay. I'm not talking that kind of a diet problem. I'm talking about strange, like abnormal diet.
Okay. Question number 2. This one comes from Jaquetta. Keith, what do you think of all these UFO tranche releases that the government is doing in the U.S.?
Well,
I know you don't really pay attention to what the government does. You're more about humanity. But in general, do you think it's a good idea that they're doing this, or do you think they're trying to skirt the issue?
Well, in all fairness, since I haven't seen any of these tranche releases, I can't tell you one way or the other from that standpoint. But I would not be betting on them actually giving a straight answer. In my experience, they throw a lot of chaff into the air to confuse things. And without having seen any of them, I'd be inclined to say that's probably where they're looking.
Moving on. K17 says, I was first contacted when I was 9. I wonder who they were and why am I a contactee?
Well, I got one real odd question for you there, Kay. Because this is one of those questions that's got a whole lot of possibilities. Absolutely, if you happen to be up at Caribou Con, track me down. I will give you as much information as I can. Because I require a little bit of information as to what happened. Not the least of which is what you remember of it, because I may not know them by the same name you do. Or for that matter, by the same name most people do. The why, it could be a generation thing. It may just because they were looking for a blood type thing. The variations in reasons are mind-boggling.
Yeah, I think that's more of a personal question in regards to that. And I would suggest anybody who has a very personal question like that, reach out to our Keith privately, and he'll be able to kind of read it into you, because he is that nice of a guy. And I think you'd do that, right, Keith?
Oh, yeah. Just, if you go to buymeacoffee.com/innervoiceJ, you can find an easy way to contact me or talk to Dave. He'll give you my connection. And drop me a line. I'll do my best to clarify things for you as best I am, as best I'm able.
It's the power of the sideburns. Our Keith Andrews right here on Spaced Out Radio. First Contact is asking, Keith, if someone wants to get abducted, how do they accomplish that?
That's an excellent question. I love it. I do strongly suggest you don't go, I just want to be abducted by somebody because I want the experience. This is a bad lead-in. But I will tell you the easiest way that I know of to get their attention in a positive fashion is start literally treating everybody around you as an equal. Okay. Eliminate the concept of greed and prejudice from your actions and vocabulary, and you'll get their attention a whole lot more readily. Because there's enough fear out there amongst them, they don't need to bring it up from humans. They know what the humans are happen when humans get afraid, and it's not pleasant.
What's not pleasant about it?
About what humans do when they get afraid?
No, when you say, "Hey, I don't care who comes against me," and all of a sudden the bad ETs come down.
Well, let's just say you decide you just want to be a desire to be abducted by somebody, so you can have the experience. Well, Tormanon will sell you. Alarians and Teklek will eat you. Like, that'll be the end of the abduction, and it's not a good way to end. And there are a number of other ones that will make your life absolutely, shall we say, miserable. And it's just because of the fact that there is an ongoing, there's a cute little thing going on amongst the off-world. They do have interstellar zoos. And humans make a beautiful attachment, a beautiful addition. I just don't see living inside a cage as an enjoyable thing. But the old saying, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it.
Very true. Very true. Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continues here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's go to Susan in Massachusetts. She will be out at Caribou Con. She is flying out from Massachusetts for this one.
Oh, fantastic.
Can't wait to see her. If someone has an implant, Keith, what should they do? Remove it or not?
Not much point, in all fairness. If you're looking for solid proof of it, then yeah, you're going to have to find a way to remove it. Most of the implants do not leave they are not a physical implant. And if they really want to keep you tracked, they will know where you were the last time, and they'll already have the DNA markers to find you again. 90% of the trackers that are in people have no viable biological impact on you. All they do is relay information. You know, so if you're looking to prove that you've had an implant, okay, that you can absolutely look to have it removed. But I will caution you, the moment you turn it over to human scientists, they're going to have a lot more questions than just that implant. And that's something you've got to be aware of. You know, from my standpoint, because they can pop them back in right away, I don't personally see a problem with it. In my case, I found out that you can actually modify the molecular density of it and have it slide right out of your system, which really screws them up. Most people can't do that.
Our Keith Andrews of the ET Connection continues here. Nathan's question is, are the trackers all physical and detectable via our current science?
Absolutely not. Most are done on a subquantum level. A subquantum level or a biomolecular implant. As in, they literally match the external casing to your genetic code. So modern science won't see it. In most cases.
What if the implants move?
Well, some are designed to move. But on the whole, if they move, that's usually because they were a short-term implant and are being worked out of the system. Okay, like for instance, we're going to track you for a week just to see what you're up to. Right. So they leave an implant with a time delay on it where it will come apart and it will lose its footing and then be worked out of the system through, quite frankly, the most convenient orifice. And you get to translate that into what you will.
Can these implants heal a person?
Some can. Because what they do is, if they're doing it for that purpose, it sets off a molecular emanation to accelerate neurogenesis. Okay, the rebuilding of the human genome. Humans are easy to repair compared to some races. Okay, it's just they're as skittish as all get out.
All right, ready for another one?
Fire away.
Let's do it. Jules is asking, can you send a qualified, loving, off-world healer to people?
The best I can do is, if I know who I'm dealing with, I can make a request. But let's face it, I don't make the decisions.
I think in general, like, could they do that if a species likes you?
They absolutely can. And some people do develop friendships amongst various species. Those species may take it upon themselves to come in and straighten things out. You know I had a good friend of mine that asked me, he was the only one that it ever happened with. He asked to go topside, and we managed to get him up there. Right. But yeah, off-worlders, depending on the species, can absolutely step in and come down to heal somebody. You know, there are limits. Like, what they can't do is they cannot bring down technology and turn it over to humans. They can, however, utilize it, okay, in the benefit of specifics. And no, it is not a question of, oh, you've got to be some sort of well-connected millionaire or businessman or politician. You could be a person living on the street that an off-worlder made contact with and made friends with. That comes down to heal. Okay, but we are talking physical and or mental healing. We are not talking financial healing. And the reality is anybody can request assistance. But when you're going to request, don't ask for help. Thank them for providing it. As in, treat it as though they already did. I know that sounds backwards, but I also know it works.
All right, Keith, let's get to another one here.
Fire away.
Do you believe Billy Myers is legitimate or not?
Well, the way the question asked, yes, I do believe he is legitimate or not. I've never listened to it.
Billy Myers in the 70s. He's the guy, the I Want to Believe poster with the disc flying in the background.
I remember seeing the poster, yes.
Well, that's supposed to be a UFO that he caught, and many people believe is a hubcap.
I can understand the belief. I'd have to take another look at the thing. Now, I am no photo expert. Okay. But I can tell you if something looks real. But there is no way I can tell you whether the photo is real or whether that side of it is. But I remember the one the post you're referring to. I just didn't pay any attention to it.
Chiquetta's asking, when was the last time you were with the other worlders, and where did you go, or what did you do?
And that was the easy part. That was just last week. And I literally was up there. I went up to the consortium flagship to check and make sure everything was running properly after the mess I had back last September. Last August? No, it was September. You remember that wonderful little fiasco. I'm pretty certain I told you about it.
Well, continue on for people who hadn't heard it.
Oh, that's the easy part. I had 2 fatal coronaries. As in, my heart stopped completely for number 10 and 11th time. Number 10 and 11th time. And that's just this lifetime. But they wanted to make sure, the off-worlders wanted to make sure that everything was running tickety-boo again. And at this point, everything is. In all fairness, it's getting more stable. But yeah, it was just a question of making certain everything was running stable, because they're still having a lot of, shall we say, controversy up there, because the number of new species coming into the area is getting, shall we say, complicated. Which is why, so I went up to their flagship. I did drop by what you call the dark side of the moon. And rest assured, that is not dark over there. But it is extremely active. Ultimately, the dark side of the moon is a way station. As in, various races stop in there if they're planning on coming down to do research on Earth. They stop there to check in first. And, it becomes an interesting soiree. But I've done that a couple of times. Last week was really the first extended point that I went up there.
Who took you?
Oh, again, I don't know who the gentleman was to start with, but it was straight to the flagship. Okay, the flagship is easy to recognize. But it was the guy didn't identify himself as in this is my name. It was just I was being requested topside by the consulate. See, I've gone, for those that don't know me, I've gone from being an abductee when I was a kid to being a contactee to being a liaison. And before anybody asks, as near as I can figure, it's because I literally look at aliens, ancient races, and humans all as the same. They're all of equal value. I don't put one above the other. No. And quite literally, the only people I look up to are the ones that are taller than me or at a higher position.
All right, Keith, let's move on here. What species of off-worlder contacts Earthlings at night?
Which doesn't. Quite literally, most of them do it at night. And the reason being, humans put up less struggle when they're asleep. And they are easier to keep under sedation, if you will, and easier to put a memory engram in, so it seems to the abductee as though they've had a dream. And the reason for doing the overlay is so the humans can carry on as best as possible with an uninterrupted life. But that, the reality is most of them will pick you up during the night. I hear of very few. I've talked to a few people that were taken during the day. Myself, I've had that happen. And rest assured, that can screw up your day. Even from my standpoint, it can screw the day up.
Totally.
I missed that.
I said it could totally screw up your day.
Yeah, I have enough trouble tracking time and location without having somebody pick me up.
2.5 minutes before we take a break. Keith, how do you aliens feel about the U.S. military-industrial complex having alien bodies, some captured and some kept for study after crashes?
How do I feel about it, or about whether they have it?
Well, no. How do the NHI, he puts it, let's talk real extraterrestrials or aliens feel? How do they feel?
How do they feel about having, or how do the aliens?
What is the reaction from the aliens about being captured?
They're not any happier than humans are. Most of them just want to go home. And some of them are a whole lot more volatile in their systems. But yes, various governments around the world have captured off-worlders and kept it very secret. So no, I cannot tell you where they're being kept. Okay, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But the off-worlders themselves, on occasion, have been known to initiate rescue attempts. Okay, and I'll use the term attempt a little loosely, because when an off-world group decides we're going to get them, whatever government it is that has them will lose contact, will lose that abduction. Because bear in mind, humans do not have the technology to stop biomolecular relocation, aka teleportation. Humans don't have the technology to stop it. And I've watched these guys walk into a high security place without any bells going off. Walk in, take a look around, and walk out again. But it's not just the U.S. Every one of the major governments that I'm aware of has contact with some off-worlders and has abducted some for the same reason. Well, we need to know what makes them tick. The one mistake that humans are making in that question is humans haven't got a prayer of defeating off-world technology. It makes for a great movie, but that's where the reality of it ends.
Keith, we're going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. Keith is here each and every month to break down what it's like to have extraterrestrial contact. You got aliens? You see things at night you can't explain? Our Keith Andrews is the guy who can explain it to you. Maybe you got some aliens yourself. We'll be right back.
This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott.
All right, Keith, we're going to play a video here, okay?
Okay.
Our merch is Bigfoot approved. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we have hoodies, we have socks, we have hats, we have stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can buy Spaced Out Radio merch and look the part? Our merch ain't ugly, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Lurking within the forested region of the 108-mile ranch, where the worlds of the normal and paranormal collide. CaribouCon is waiting for you, bringing together a panel of renowned experts in the paranormal, cryptid research, and UFO phenomena fields. Get ready for a spine-tingling weekend in the heart of British Columbia. Enjoy fascinating discussions, presentations, tours of local haunted areas, and skywatching. Learn from investigators, authors, and enthusiasts who explore everything from ghost hunting techniques to sightings of Sasquatch and beyond. Whether you're a seasoned paranormal researcher or just love a good spooky story, this is your chance to connect with fellow enthusiasts in one of BC's most mysterious areas. Tickets are on sale now. Grab yours before they're gone. Visit cariboucon.com for details, tickets, and updates.
Are you ready to dive into the weird and wonderful world of cryptids, cartoons, and chaos? Meet Dirty Filth, Spaced Out Radio's resident cartoonist and master of the mysterious. Every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific, join him live on the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel for Cryptid Cartoons with Dirty Filth, a hilarious hour where he sketches bizarre beasts, shares mind-bending stories, and battles his mischievous cats. Whether you're a UFO enthusiast, paranormal fan, or just love quirky art, Dirty Filth filters the universe through his unique lens, creating cartoons that capture the strange, dark, and supernatural. Follow Dirty Filth on X at Filth1 or Facebook at Dear Filth for more filthy fun. Find his link in the description below.
Spaced Out Radio wants to hear from you. We love our community, and your voice truly matters. Drop a comment after every show and let us know what you thought. Agree with our guests? Tell us why. Disagree? We want to hear that too. We read every single comment. Jump into the live chat during the broadcast and be part of the conversation in real time. Got a killer topic idea? Your suggestions help shape the show. And if you want to take it even further, join our Patreon for bonus content and direct feedback opportunities with Dave and the team. This is your show as much as it is ours. Whether you're a longtime listener or brand new, we want your thoughts, your questions, and your ideas. And let's keep building this incredible community together. Spaced Out Radio, where the conversation never ends. What are you waiting for? We're listening.
With 5 explorable Gold Rush-era buildings said to be home to spirits of a time forgotten, the 108-mile heritage site in the heart of BC's Caribou region offers a unique opportunity for thrill seekers and history buffs. For an evening of historical fun, step into our guided ghost tours, where spine-chilling stories of gold rush legends and unexplained encounters come alive. For those craving even more, inquire with us about conducting a hands-on paranormal investigation of your own. And if you're truly brave, book our haunted sleepovers. Spend the night at our B&B inside the McNeil House to truly experience this historical landmark and its ghostly secrets firsthand. For booking or inquiries, go to haunted108.com.
All right, we bring Keith back. We are getting ready for hour 2 here. Trucker Andrew, how you doing? And who else is here? I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name, but welcome to SOR Chat. We're caught up, Keith. Caught up. Thank you tonight to our lone super chatter, Candace. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, ring that bell, give us a thumbs up. Mr. Bollocks, welcome. Here we go. Let's say hello to all of you listening in tonight. My name is Dave Scott. This is Spaced Out Radio. Hour number 2 is now underway. Our Keith Andrews of the ET Connection continues right after this. But first, I want to say hello to all of you listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is Bavardage. Bavardage is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continues right now. Audience questions underway for Keith about everything extraterrestrial. Keith, Doug Shelby, the Doug Shelby, has a question for you. Is it going to ruffle any feathers if we actually build a permanent base on the moon?
Not as long as you don't build it on the buildings that are already there. You know, humans are going to end up doing it eventually anyway if they haven't already. But no, it's not going to cause a big problem. At least not from what I can gather. Depending, of course, on that neat little variable common to humans. If humans don't cause a problem while they're up there, they won't have a problem. The reality is... Go ahead.
Do you think we already have bases up there?
I'd be inclined to say yes. I know they've already got 3 international space stations in orbit around Earth that mankind has put up in orbit. I would be inclined to say they've already got a small building up there, but I don't know for certain.
What would be the benefit of putting bases on the moon?
Interspecies communication on a one-to-one base without the delay. And net result, if that negotiation goes well and the people on Earth start behaving in the way that the off-worlders dictate, the consortium has said, you desire to become a member of the consortium, here's the parameters. If the massive majority of people are doing what is requested, then a space station on the moon will make it that much easier to get all the formalities put in place to become an actual member of the consortium. Right now, Earth is protected in as much as no species will be permitted to take it over. Mankind is a caretaker, and that's the way that sits.
I'm going to follow it up with this question here. Because recently, just a few days ago, SpaceX crashed one of their rockets into the moon. I don't know why. I think it was due to some sort of scientific experiment, obviously. But do you think that's going to cause a problem?
No, they have accidents up there all the time. That's just another one of many. And I don't mean that mankind has had a bunch of accidents up there. I mean the consortium has had picked up on them quite consistently, especially the new arrivals that don't understand the docking system. It's just part and parcel of space travel.
Continuing on, Keith, let's go to Nathan. Is there any way to detect hybrids even if they do not know?
Technically, the answer would be yes, but you're talking about a DNA super scrub. And I don't know if humans have that capacity yet. Humans still have a problem with the idea that the triple helix has the information. But on the whole, a hybrid is a genetic mesh, which means you're not going to be able to see them it won't show up on the whole by just looking at somebody. It's kind of like trying to spot an adopted kid. Okay, they may not know they're adopted, but you can't necessarily tell by just looking at them.
How do you tell then?
Well, like I said, to actually spot just by glancing at it, for me, it's simple. It's an energetic abnormality compared to the human genome. But on the whole, people don't do that. So the idea of somebody being able to, of humans using technology or anything for that matter, to scan somebody and say, oh, you're a hybrid. Not very likely. I don't believe they've got that technology sorted around yet. Although, in all fairness, they're getting better.
Let's move on to another question, Keith. Go to Blue. Who are the two stated alien ET off-world races who are assigned to protect the planet?
Who were assigned? There weren't any. These Strazazians came in of their own design, of their own choice. And Strazazians are a 7.5 to 8.5 foot reptilian race that they decided to come in here and defend humans against their adversaries, which were the Techlex. But that was the Strazazian choice. And the only ones I guess you might say are assigned to protect would be the actual Pleiadians. And they're here because they were brought in to help with the hybridization program. Because the Pleiadians, those are your translucent blue skin people. Okay, and they are interstellar healers. But they're here to heal anything that's ill. We start with those two, but the consortium itself came in to ensure that off-worlders were stopping with the idea of, we're going to come down here and pose as gods. The Gaddafi and the Ennead were prime examples. You know them as the Egyptian gods and the North Roman and Greek gods. Okay, but the consortium came in and went, guys, you're not gods. Get off. Net result, the so-called those particular gods to mankind kind of vanished overnight. Now, to be clear, the Gaddafi, who as the Norse gods, okay, they said they came from Mount Olympus, which they did. The problem is it's not on Earth.
Where's it from? It's not on Earth. What are we doing here?
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
We're living here. But their home planet, which happens to be the other side of the Pleiadian star system, and that is where their home, where their Mount Olympus is. Okay, and yeah, it's very much the way that people look. But like I said, they came down here, and when they showed up, the people at the locals at the time went. They looked at all the abilities and all the technology and went, "These are gods." And the Gaddafi went, "Okay, so what does that mean to us?" And when the humans started worshiping them and bringing them all sorts of things, the Gaddafi are not too proud to say, "Hey, we're getting bonuses, we're just taking them." You know, they were quite readily accepting of this new status. And in all fairness, the Antioch did the same thing.
Well, let's continue on, Keith.
Sure, fire.
Go to Derek. How come after I capture a UFO on video, it seems supernatural occurrences tend to follow?
Well, it's not. It's more an issue in all likelihood of once you capture one on video, you are more aware of the ones going on. It's kind of like if you buy a given type of car. Once you buy it, all of a sudden you can see other cars of that make. I mean, I've heard this told in a lot of different places, but it's usually a question of the moment you've had that experience, you're more aware of what they are, and therefore note them a lot more readily.
Well, that's good. All right, Keith, let's move on. Candace is asking, Keith, I'm with you on that. Have you heard authenticity, pardon me, is the highest frequency we put out there? Have you heard of that before?
I've heard of it. I've heard it phrased a lot of different ways, but ultimately it is right. Because when you are being honest, when you're being authentic, it comes across. It causes all kinds of problems with people if they're not ready for it, which is why I end up running into trouble on occasion, because I'm just me, you know. And Dave knows firsthand. I'm just the way I am. But yeah, if you're aiming at making an impact, be true to yourself first. This does not mean do what everybody thinks you should be doing. But I do recommend you obey the local laws. Primarily because I personally don't like the idea of the complications that go with it.
All right, Keith, ready for another one?
Fire away.
Here we go. What do you think about them, the aliens, looking for bloodlines?
Absolutely, they do. And this is why I say your blood type is only relevant for the people that are actually looking for that blood type. But generational abductions is quite normal in the pursuit of comprehension. Okay, where they will literally, maybe they grab your grandfather and then down the road they've been picking up at least one member of that generation. Okay, and it's to see how that generation is evolving. It's a genetic track that they're usually working with. But it again depends on which species is doing it as to what their primary purpose is. But they absolutely do it via bloodline. So yes, if you had an ancestor or a relative for that matter that you know has been abducted or claims they've been abducted, it would not be a shock to find a second one or a third one involved that had gone through the same sort of thing. But what they're looking for, what most of them are looking for, is what is it about that given bloodline that makes them stand out? Is there something that makes them more aware of off-worlders or more accepting of them? Or in some cases, is somebody a threat? Is somebody's bloodline a threat to that particular race. And rest assured, humans are feared by many races because humans have two things going for them. Well, technically three. Humans have a staggering imagination and this incredible will to survive or to win. You know, you can take many humans, throw them into a completely odd situation, take the most rational path they should follow. A human will go the other direction and still land on their feet. This concerns the off-worlders because humans don't think like any other race, although they are making some of the same mistakes. Okay, in other words, take a look at society over the years. Mankind has blown its own society to pieces numerous times and then had to rebuild. But they look for bloodlines to see if they can spot a leadership trait in any of the bloodlines. Because if they can find an open-minded, open-hearted leader that is well-rounded, it gives them a better way of interacting with humans to start with, even before they become a member of the consortium. You know, this is one of the biggest reasons that they watch the bloodline. And yeah, before somebody goes there, they do note if they're tracking a bloodline and all of a sudden it comes to an end, it does upset some of the scientists. Because let's face it, their life's work has just come to a grinding halt.
All right, Keith, let's move on to another question. Here we go. Nathan's asking, do ETs filter what they let us know based on what they think we can handle?
Ultimately, yes. You've heard the term, you can't handle the truth.
Yes.
I believe came from a very famous show, and I can't for the life of me remember which one. But they absolutely filter. Because if they were to release all the information that they have into most people's mind would not be able to wrap itself around it without causing serious emotional distress. So they absolutely will taper it. This is why they do a memory overlay. Okay, so instead of having a memory of being strapped to a table, you remember this big eye, and that's it. Okay, the idea is to make the transition from abduction back to your real world with as little discomfort as possible. That and the fact that most of what the off-worlders do, humans can't translate the language. I mean, let's face it. When you're dealing with trying to communicate with a Yumion work in light in photosynthetic communication, or photo-optic communication is more to the point. And humans don't recognize it all that well. Can't picture why not. But the human mind can only stretch so far before it has serious problems. So they put an overlay in, or they filter the amount of information down to, you don't have to be afraid. We're not here to hurt you. You know, we're just taking a few samples. Yeah, it's gonna feel a little bit of a prick. But most of the off-worlders don't understand what humans are going through. And of course, the reality is, vegans, for instance, the vegans, they have no pain center. So they got no concept at all about anesthetic when they're doing exams. But then, to be fair, humans don't understand what a bear goes through when they get abducted, tagged, and sampled, and sent back out in the wild. Okay, and yes, just like humans do with animals, when an abductee is returned, the off-worlder usually sticks around long enough to make certain the person wakes up and is back operating functionally well. You know, I've heard a lot of people have come to me and said, I remember waking up in the middle of the night and there was this guy standing in the corner. and the next thing I knew, they were gone. This would be the emissary that came back with you to make certain that you got back, sort of back in your own world.
Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continue. Keith, we got 4 minutes to go before we head to break at the bottom of the hour. If an alien ET race takes or abducts humans without having permission or clearance from the consortium, will this result in the consortium disrupting the abduction by directing the humans to be returned?
Depending on who it is that was taken, the answer is yes. Okay, if it's just a normal person on the street, okay, if it is done in an accepted fashion, the consortium won't step in. Because you got to remember, before they come down to do any abductions, first of all, you got to get clearance. Now, the reality is that not everybody does. You know, it's also known as poaching. But that said, as long as the poacher is following accepted abduction protocol, right, and not creating an absolute disaster, like for instance, they tried taking the CO and abducting them to find out what they were working on. The odds are they're going to be told, put it back, wipe out everybody's memory, and get the heck off the planet. If you will, the affronting species does not comply, well, let's just say the retribution is swift and rather, shall we say, complete, because the consortium will literally wipe the vehicle, if you will, the poaching vehicle out of existence. Yes, consortium laws are a lot stricter than human.
I can see that. All right, Keith, let's get to one more question here. All right, we've got about 2 minutes to go. Back to Blue Cruise. What alien ET race appears as a shimmering or glimmering 6 to 8 foot tall bipedal humanoid being when encountered by humans at random locations around the Earth?
That's probably a Aldebaranian. It could be the Aldebaranians, could be, the other race that is almost just as likely as Yumion. They have a tendency of taking on a human-like form. And I'm not entirely certain why they do it, but because the Yumion themselves are alike. They are literally a spot of light. But some of them get a little creative and try and emulate. Usually it's the younger ones. Okay. Trying to, if you will, exhibit their creative capacity of trying to mimic a bipedal form. Primarily the reason for that is that many humans see a glowing humanoid form as some sort of a positive omen. So the Yumion, being who they are, especially the younger ones of them, will try and utilize that to make people relax a little while they do their own exploration. But to be clear, Yumion don't usually abduct people. Scare the daylights out of them, certainly, but that's usually an accident.
Well, a lot of people also call this the Glimmer Man as well.
Yeah, which would make sense. But I'd lay odds that what they're calling the Glimmer Man is probably one individual. And like I said, it's likely, I don't know the individual personally, but it's likely somebody, a young Yumion, trying to go, I'm going to make myself look bipedal. Because the Yumion control light. Okay, they communicate via photonic imprint. And if you can make a body, you've got a lot wider array of what you can do.
All right, Keith, hold on right there. We're going to break.
Okay,
Half an hour more with our Keith Andrews, ET Connection.
listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, Keith, we're clear.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep sneezing here for a second.
Okay. I hate that.
Oh, this damn fire smoke gets me.
Yeah, I
There
don't
we
do
go.
that. I can just I can just picture the fun you've been having trying to breathe.
All right. Peppa, how you doing? It's been a while since we've had you here. Thurston Howell III, nice to see you. J Truth, has Jennifer got her tickets yet for Caribou Con? I don't think she has. There's extra small Lee Strauss. Hold on. I blow my nose into my microphone. What an idiot. Who does that? No WABC tonight. It's Friday. Thurston, by the way, I was watching last night. You had the band playing really well at the end of the show. Good job. No idea where Chris Teen has been. Or I Am Pam. That's right. Jax comes into my chat room. Get your ass to Caribou Con or I'm going to kick it. Lee Strauss, ladies, will also be autographing pictures of his chest hair at the Caribou Con. Between R. Keith Andrews and his pictures of his sideburns and Lee's chest hair, it's going to be a great night, man.
And do you believe we have the makings of a Wookiee?
We have about 2 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Keith, I love you, buddy. I think on the Thursday night beforehand, or the Friday, we're going to be making sure that we get a good meal for you guys.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we tried coming up earlier, but there is no bus up there. Like, you guys really are in the middle of nowhere, you know that, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. Literally in the middle of nowhere. Oh, look at Tyler. Tyler say, "Be careful, Dave. My grandma's listening, and she's now saying she wants a picture." What is your grandma's name, Tyler? Because that's literally kind of awesome if she is. Fap's late grandmother, Grandma Rose, used to listen to us all the time. And I actually called Grandma Rose on her birthday one year. And I loved it. I miss Grandma Rose, Fapster. Even though you're very highly unattractive, I do miss Grandma Rose. And it does disgust me, Fap, that you wear her dentures. Just as a memory. Everybody's staying at 108 Mile Hotel. 108 Mile Hotel. Except me. I'll be at home. I'll be partying there.
I was thinking you weren't going to be there much at all, that you weren't going to be at home much at all. But
here we go, everybody. This is the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continuing right now. Keith, I know you love the audience questions. We're going to get going here right now, my friend. Let's go to Sweet Donna C. Kick things off. Which beings are luminous and may give a silver ball of energy for healing or as a gift?
Those are definitively the Umion. The Umion, now, the Umion are the light ball. Okay. Other than that, the ones that might end up handing you one is the true Pleiadians. And they will, because they will heal anybody. That is what they do. You know, those are the two, but the Umion are the most likely because they are light. And of course, the Arcturians are another race that has been known to reach out to help people in specific cases, but they're not, as a species go, they're not actually overall known for their healing work. Although they do have the technology to do it.
Makes sense. All right, Keith, we got a lot of questions we're going to push through here. Paramarv is asking, have the ETs mentioned anything about the Earth losing its gravity on August 12th? Asking for 8 billion friends.
I love people that come up with that question. Okay, they're not worried about it because, frankly, if Earth loses its gravity for even a split second, mankind will cease to exist. We'll be dead. This is not something that happens. Okay. Although there's a staggering amount of fear-mongering going on around that. But no, the off-worlders aren't worried about it.
All right, let's go to the next one. Jules is asking, if it's easier to make contact at night, why would some of us have so many daytime interactions? Or are you just literally meaning only abduction visits?
I was literally referring to abduction. Seeing or interacting, I mean, let's face it, we are not talking about something that only happens to one person in every 100,000. We're talking about people being abducted or contacted or witnessed to staggering numbers. And even if you're, even people in broad daylight, maybe looking at a tree line and see a UFO going by. Because sometimes it's not what you see, but what you don't see that tells you there's something there. Of course, we also have to realize that many of the daytime sightings may well be ancient race interaction. Ancient races are simply species that evolved on Earth, okay, and are still here in most cases. But it's a question of contact happens when they can make it happen. And yes, there are curious off-worlders that simply desire to meet a human. Okay, kind of like humans. Some humans go, I just desire to have an encounter. The problem they usually run into is, I don't care by who, I just want to experience it. This isn't necessarily a good idea.
Okay, good answer. Jay is asking, who are the light blue skin, blonde hair Nordic ETs, and where are they from if they're a real group of ETs?
Well, the dark skin, the light blue skin, those are the Aldebaranians. They look similar to Nordics, but they aren't Nordic. Nordics are blonde hair, don't get me wrong, but that's pretty much where the similarity ends. Because Nordics are human skin tone. Well, you call them the Nordics, I call them the Gedefni. Same people, different name.
All right, let's continue on here. Let us go next to Sandra on Vancouver Island. What do they feed captured aliens?
That would depend entirely on which alien they have. Most of the reptilians have to be carnivorous. Therefore, you have to work with meat, preferably live. And rest assured, if you're not careful, if you have captured most of the reptilians and you've got them in a cage, they're more likely to eat the keeper. They're more likely to eat the keeper than they are to eat the snack.
Andromeda or Jules wants to know: are there any off-worlders that people, or are there any people off-worlders avoid?
You mean as individuals? Not that I know of, but undoubtedly some off-worlders will avoid certain people. Okay, but that becomes a personal thing. But there is no human I'm aware of. There's nobody living on this planet that off-worlders, on the whole, avoid.
Jerry wants to know: will aliens disarm any nation's nukes to avert wars?
Only if that nuclear assault is set to create a big enough one to wipe out the actual planet. If we're just talking about a nuclear bomb here or a couple of nuclear bombs there, the odds are they'll let it happen because it won't do any damage to Esau herself. Esau being the Kaboran that we live upon. But they won't stop the wars from happening. Humans have to come to understand that war and shooting each other is not going to bring world peace. It may bring world quiet, but it won't bring peace. And humans have to get to the point of world peace and a one world government in order to get there. And nuclear war, nuclear armaments and technology is a natural stepping stone to the higher techs. So it has to take place. Although it is recommended you don't actually shoot each other with it.
All right, moving on, Keith. Andromedan is asking: what do some races think of the astral planes?
They're a great playground. The astral planes are accessed by virtually every species out there. Okay, so you can run into a lot of these people in the astral plane. And they are used as training grounds, experimental fields, just a learning place. I grew up playing in them. Okay, and there are many species where individuals will do just that. What was the name? But
All right. All right.
Yeah, the astral plane is accessible by any one of the species.
Carrie is asking: they are saying CERN is affecting the fabric of time and space. Are ETs concerned about what they are doing at CERN?
No. Number one, I won't argue with what they're saying, but they're not affecting the fabric of time or space. Mankind does not have the technology to do that. Heck, 99% of the off-world species don't have the ability to do that. And I know, I'm a nobody. And there's a lot of people that will tell you the science is there that proves it's affecting things. Frankly, the off-worlders aren't concerned about it.
Next one. Here we go, Keith. Linda would like to know. What type of natural phenomena attracts UFOs, if any?
Life. I know that was a real short answer, but the reality is the off-worlders take a look at the societal advancements and the evolution of new life forms, or socioeconomic evolution of a given species, which is really what's got a lot of the off-worlders' interest in humanity right now. But there's that, and of course, then you've got the issue of the different experiments they're doing that will attract whichever species is working on it. So your array of what can attract them is kind of like the array of what is going to draw a given human to a given restaurant. There are so many possibilities that, well, let's face it, they're innumerable.
All right, let's go to the next one. Jay is asking, have you ever visited the ant people deep underground and or on Mars? And also visited with the ant king and ant queen, also with different colored races of ant people?
Well, the short answer is you're talking about the Talons. And secondly, they are the one species that when I was a kid, I had a lot of trouble with. We've slowly gotten to understand their methods are not acceptable to me. At least they're saying the methods of dealing with me. But the answer is yes. Okay. Now, the reality is the Talon are not from Earth, or for that matter, from Mars. They are off-worlders. They just simply have set up a local attachment here. And no, they are not here to overtake the planet, or undertake for that matter.
All right, let's continue. Blue is asking, is there any truth to the underground alien ET races stating statements that if humans do not take better care of the planet, they will come to the surface and instantaneously take over?
Okay, I won't debate that there are some that will say that. Okay, but that's an individual thing. There is not a species that lives in Earth or in Hollow Earth that is ready to come back to the surface and take it over. They made a run at taking care of the planet. This is mankind's time until mankind blows itself out of existence. If that occurs, then certainly some of the races from Hollow Earth will come to the surface and put things back in track. But there's no interest in evicting mankind. I have no doubt there are individuals amongst the Hollow Earth residents that have told people, we'll come up here and just wipe you guys out and take over again. If that was going to happen, they had done it a long time ago. Okay, but that would be coming from an individual that basically wants to make himself feel better. Much like some humans say, oh, we can do this. If you don't do exactly what we say, we're going to do this. That ain't the way it works. Humans are really good at that side of it. And yes, there are individuals, but there's no viable threat of any of the Hollow Earth species coming back, or of the off-worlders. With the Hollow Earth ones, they don't want to take over. With the off-worlders, they've already been told if you try and take over, the consortium will blow up the planet of their homeworld that houses the primary, secondary, and tertiary governments, and then excommunicate them from the consortium, meaning they'll lose all support. At which point it's going to be eons before they get back to that. The door will be open again, but only when they get back to meeting that criteria. I.e., one world government where the majority are literally taking care of each other. A one world government, not a dictatorship.
All right, buddy. Let's go to the next one here. Is it possible to live stream the Caribou Conference at a price for those who cannot attend in person? It is something that we will record, but we will probably put out after everything is done. Moving on. Let's see. Peppa is asking, when is R. Keith going to tell us he's an alien?
Oh, I'm not.
How do you know?
Oh, I'm not going to tell you that either. She asked why I was going to tell you I am one.
Oh.
Not whether or not I was. She asked whether I was going to tell you I am.
It wouldn't surprise me with you, Keith.
Sometimes.
It wouldn't surprise me. Joe is asking, do aliens have the ability to heal us? I've heard that sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. Is it random?
Number one, some species can do it. Okay, some cannot. Is it random? Virtually never. Sometimes it does happen by accident. But here's the kicker. Humans have the capacity to heal each other without the added bonuses, without the added training and what have you. However, with humans, it is unreliable on the whole. And therefore, your modern doctors are definitely your best move. Okay, but it depends on the species. The Pleiadians, they absolutely can heal virtually anybody and virtually any species. Okay, but it's got nothing to do with accidental.
Bounty is asking, two types, shiny 12 to 15 foot tall ones that yank the dark misty ones out of things like planes. What are both of them?
Well, you're likely now, specifically, I'm not 100% certain because I got way too many races going on. But you're undoubtedly talking about the dark ones. You're likely looking at the I know I've got them listed, but I'd be inclined to say you're probably talking about the Shadow Walkers. Okay, some people refer to them as shades. And I've got like on top of the ones I'm putting in the book, which will be completed, it's already been done. I just have a few things I've got to add to it before the end of next week, and then it goes to print. But with the dark misty ones, they are literally a non-corporeal species. They are literally a shadow. As far as the 12-foot shiny ones go, I'm not 100% certain specifically which one we're referring to.
I don't know either. Don't know. Let's move on, Keith. We got 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Candace is asking, do you know what alien, if it is one, has purple skin tone with a triangular facial shape? Asking for a friend.
The short answer is yes, but I would literally have to go back through my notes. I will tell you they are heavily versed in the metaphysical field. Okay. I believe the colloquial name for them is magicers. And I'm not talking about mages. Okay. But these are guys that literally work on a psionic field. Okay, psionic or metaphysical field. And they are quite adept at, without even blinking, scrambling somebody's mind just by thinking about it. And not because they desire to, but because their brainwaves are that strong as to overload the neurons in a human.
All right, Keith, let's go to Cosmic Joe. Is there any way to contact an alien spacecraft by radio waves?
If you're lucky. They actually use communication lines way higher than radio waves, but they do monitor radio waves. And like I've told Dave, Okay, they've been watching Dave's show and a few others since the show started. So yeah, they do monitor. The trick is getting them to respond. And exactly what you're going to have to do that one, sorry, can't give you an answer to that.
All right.
Well, I could if I have to make it up.
Little Mikey's asking, if we ever get disclosure, how much would the world change as we know it?
That depends entirely on how long it takes for them to actually tell us. If the off-worlders were to come out full force, as everybody seems to think, society would buckle overnight. Because our entire existence for thousands of years has revolved around mankind being the top of the totem pole. Okay, if all of a sudden off-worlders were here en masse, everybody's belief structure, the entire socioeconomic standing of the planet would buckle in amongst itself. Okay, people have a real bad, humans are really, really bad where it comes to interacting with things that startle them. As in, let's shoot first and ask you friendly second. This is not a good entry point for a conversation.
Let's continue. We got 2.5 minutes, Keith. Jules is asking, one world government is such a scary thing to a lot of people. Do you have anything to share that might make it less apocalyptic sounding?
A one world government literally is set up kind of like the UN, like the current UN is. You have representatives from all the different quadrants of the planet that are literally sitting together to govern what happens with all people being seen as equal. There are no second world countries concerned. There are no first or third world countries. Every country is a first world country. And the reason you have a group that's one speaker that literally controls communication flow, but the reason you've got a major panel like that is because somebody living, for instance, in the middle of the Brazilian rainforest will have no clue on how to live in the middle of the Sahara. They won't be able to compensate for any of the interaction that goes on there. Okay. Same as somebody living on an ice floe won't know how to live in a mountain. Okay. They've got to have representatives from various different sites. This is why one world government is not one person going, I make all the rules. They get together and set up an agreement where all laws apply to everybody, including the members of government. Not just going, oh, we've got an industry that wants this pushed through. There is none of that going on. A one world government watches out for every individual on the planet with an equal concern. Now, there are different levels of prosperity. Absolutely. One world does not mean everybody's the same. It simply means every consideration is made applying to all people in that environment.
Sounds communistic. Just going to say.
In all fairness, it does. But again, when you look at the communist outlook, they don't take care of everybody equally.
Well, some people are more equal than others.
And that is the biggest fallacy.
And on that note, Keith, we're going to wrap it up as we say goodnight to our Keith Andrews. Tell everybody where they can find your YouTube channel.
That's the easy part. Go to R. Keith Andrews, literally on YouTube, and you'll track me down. The other way is to go to buymeacoffee.com/InnerVoiceJ, and you'll find it there as well.
We're still trying to figure out what the J means. But
well, that was an accidental, but it actually works out well.
No, I know. We got to get going here, buddy. Our Keith Andrews, the ET Connection. Hour 3 is next.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
The J just cracks me up, Keith.
That was a typo, to be honest with you.
I know. Buddy, we'll talk to you next month, okay?
Absolutely there, Dave.
All right, bud. Take care.
Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Stop now! You're under arrest! Hands up! Don't move!
Don't get caught without your spaced out radio merchandise. We have t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, socks, hats, stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can look the part? We don't have ugly merch, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Dirty filth. Dirty filth. Dirty filth.
Object is heading north 045 degrees. It's definitely not a plane. It seems to be tethered to something. Is that a banner, Joe? Caribou Con. Does anyone know what Caribou Con is?
Caribou Con, one of the BC Caribou region's best-kept secrets. Until now. Join our panel of renowned paranormal experts for a weekend of fun and intriguing presentations. Go to cariboucon.com to book or inquire now. Discover Spaced Out Radio on all your favorite platforms. We're live every single night with the best in UFOs, cryptids, paranormal, and the unexplained, and you can find us on all your favorite platforms. Head over to Instagram for behind the scenes and daily weirdness, TikTok for quick mind-bending clips, Facebook for community discussions, and X for real-time updates and hot takes. Wherever you scroll, Spaced Out Radio is there. So go search Spaced Out Radio on every platform, hit follow, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single episode. The weird is waiting. See you there.
The McNeil House is one of several buildings at the 108-mile heritage site said to be haunted by spirits of a time long forgotten. But would you stay the night? Along with guided ghost tours and paranormal investigations, Haunted 108 is offering a chance to spend the entire night inside the historic McNeil House. by booking one of our B&B style sleepovers, where you can experience the hauntings firsthand, meet the resident ghost cat, and witness unusual activity. If you dare to turn history into a night you'll never forget, book your spot now at haunted108.com. Spots are limited. Will you be brave enough?
All right, let's get ready to bring in extra small Lee Strauss. There he is, the extra small one. Hold on, I don't have my hat on yet. Okay, here we go.
For once, I beat you to it.
Right? You totally did. Moodance Mongol, how you doing, Moodance? And who else is coming in here? Oh, are you giving me another shot? Sounds like somebody doesn't know. Acuff, why are you wasting my time? Honestly, why are you wasting my time? You know? You're like a scratch on the nuts that just will not go away. The Network Master Gaming, welcome to SOR chat. Here we go. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning us on in as we get ready for hour number 3. Swamp Dweller and our good friend Lee Strauss coming on up here momentarily. But first, I want to say hello to all of you who are listening in on our terrestrial radio stations around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Bavardage. Bavardage is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night, right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. A few months back, I was staying the night at one of my friend's house. He lives on the far edge of town in Utah. He still had neighbors around, but there was a lot of forest around it, and it was next to a canyon. I don't know if the scenery helps to the story, but I will try to list every detail of my encounter. I was staying the night, and my girlfriend also came over to hang out for a while. We hang out and everything is fine and fun and great. 1 a.m. rolls around and I had to work at 6 a.m. in another town about 30 minutes away. So I said, hey, maybe you should leave so I can get some sleep before work. And at this time, my friend was going to sleep as well, and it was just me and her. As we were walking to her car, I started feeling uneasy, like I could hear something. We get to the driver's side of her car, and I give her a hug goodbye. As I'm hugging my girlfriend, I look behind her and I'm struck with shock and fear as I see a creature maybe 8 to 9 feet tall, resembling a very skinny deer. It was standing next to a cherry tree on the side of my friend's driveway. It was bipedal and very skinny. The moon was out so I could see the creature clearly, but not so much color and detail. The legs were bent backward like deer legs or like the back of a moose leg. It slouched a lot, and I still couldn't see its face, but it was in the leaves of the cherry tree, which meant it must be 11 to 12 feet tall. I remember not being able to talk too much except for saying goodbye to my girlfriend. I don't know why, but I couldn't tell her to look behind her. Before I let go of her, I saw the creature move. It took off running toward the tree line. What absolutely baffled my mind was the speed of the creature. It looked impossible, as if it was blurry when it started running. I remember it looked right at me through the leaves, even though I couldn't see its face, just the piercing eyes. It was the most disturbing thing I've ever seen. What was the worst thing about the experience was the emotions attached to seeing what I saw. I felt like my confidence and emotions were attacked. I have never felt the feeling of fear like this before, and I've been charged by full-grown bears. After my girlfriend got into her car, I stood in that very spot from where I hugged her until she left the driveway. I don't know if it was out of fear or making sure she left safely. I don't know what to do, so I slowly walked over to my car and got in. I called my friend multiple times and he was asleep and didn't answer. I looked out my window after several minutes and I looked to the left and saw my friend's cat Avery. I tried to think logically. If my friend's cat, which was probably something with better sense than I was out here, I'm probably overthinking things and it probably was safe. So I got out and stood next to Avery. Next thing I know, it sounds like there's a Clydesdale horse running through deep growth in the forest. Avery started running for the door, and I sprinted faster than Avery could and got inside. For the next 3 hours, I sobbed and cried like I did when my dog died when I was 12. The fear I felt was indescribably powerful. I also remember it had long arms, and when it ran, it used all of its limbs. Please, anybody let me know if this is a real creature. It gives me goosebumps to this day thinking about it, and writing this brought me to tears. Just thinking about this experience is so creepy.
Thank you, Swampy, for another spooky story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube, type in Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell. Thousands of stories for you to listen to each and every day and night, just after this show. Not during, after. Time for the
call him extra small, but he's big where it counts. Chasing Bigfoot through the woods on wild accounts. Talking ghosts in the dark, UFOs in the sky. Aliens laughing while they're cruising by. Yeah, Lee Strauss is out there. Hear that cosmic call? He's the legend of Element 115. Here on Spaced Out Radio's Q&A.
All right, extra small. Lee Strauss, good to have you here on Spaced Out Radio, my friend.
Yes, sir. I'm happy to be here, Dave.
Me too. And, you know, we were anticipating tranche 5 of the UFO files to come on out, and they did, as expected, because it seems to be on a 3-week turnaround every time now, the last 3 at least. And
it sounds like to me, or it seems like to me, that a lot of this information is actually coming from the FBI.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing that you noticed, and I did too, is it looks like somebody is taking their cell phone up to a computer screen and recording over a recording, which is odd.
Well, before we get into that, and that's a great point that you bring up. 4 pages. There's actually 5 on tap, but page 5 basically says, if you want more, go to the Arrow website.
Oh.
Yeah, that's all it says.
Oh,
the images that are shown, the still images that are shown, are all AI renderings again. All right. And this is what I did tonight before the show. I want to show you this. So, as you know, there are many governmental UFO groups out there, right? There are a number of them. And many of them are, really pumping up the tires on this one. So Disclosure Foundation, which includes people like Chris Mellon and Tim Gallaudet and many other high-ranking big names, Kirk McConnell is on it, and so on and so forth. They said they tweeted this out after tranche number 5. In light of today's 5th governmental UAP file release, it's clear that raw file releases alone are not disclosure. While the file releases continue to be positive moves in the right direction, the Disclosure Foundation recommends the release of analyzable data, the intelligence assessments built on it, and the safeguard for witnesses who can help Congress establish the facts. What does responsible disclosure require? It's a 3-part process. So basically, they're like, hey, this was pretty good, but we need more. So this is what I tweeted out, and I want your opinion on this, Lee. Pardon me for writing in a tad rude tone, but how do the last 2 tranches help the cause? AI renderings are not evidence. Dots are not evidence. There's little to no transparency. Yes, I know this is a marathon and not a sprint, but come on, guys. Supporting this latest tranche is supporting the truth embargo. What's your thoughts on that?
Yes and no. Witness testimony is important in all of this, right? Things that people have seen can give us information about the type of craft that are being seen, what locations are they being seen in, and these sorts of things. So what you're talking about with, the renderings, that's somebody's experience of something that they saw. And granted, a lot of that, Dave, could be not UFOs, but UAP. So I do agree in that sense, but to get some sort of background and to get things to tie things together, maybe there was multiple people that saw a certain craft over a certain night or certain couple of nights. I think that stuff is important to research and to look at. The videos are more important. Because with video, you've got so much more information there that people can look at from different disciplines, and look at a video and say, well, there's this aspect or there's that aspect and so on and so forth. But yes, I do agree once again that it seems like they're pushing things down a side road, and we're not going towards disclosure right now, but we're going linear off to the side here instead of down the road that we need to be going on. Granted, we may all look back at this, 2 years from now and say, this is when it all started, was way back, here, and we've moved so far ahead. But right now we're instead of going north south, we're going east west. You know what I mean? I do agree. We're not moving forward anymore at the moment, anyway.
Okay, I want to debate you on this one in a nice way. Okay, in a nice way, because I don't believe AI renderings are anything to help the cause, and here's the reason why. When you combine the tough talk that people like Gallaudet, like Burchett, like Burleson, all of the big names in this field talk about what's out there, Lou Elizondo, David Grush, you name it. Okay, they talk so tough about this subject, about how there's hours upon hours upon hours, millions of hours, well, maybe not that much, but let's say thousands of hours of footage of high quality resolution, of high quality photographs, and we get AI renderings. Okay, you can't talk out of the mouth from one side and then give us the other. Now, I do realize, because a lot of people will be like, Dave, you idiot. Okay, they are fighting for more, and the people who are in control are not giving more. I get that, but these people have been in a position to see these photographs, see these videos. What was Tim Burchett stating a couple months ago? Which was, if you saw what I had saw, you would burn your whole world down. Remember that?
Yeah. Okay. I remember that.
And I think, who is ever running the tranche, this is, or putting out the information on the tranches, this is a joke. Okay. And for people like the Disclosure Foundation and other people within the UFO community, and yes, I realize this is a marathon, not a sprint, the disclosure, or confirmation, as Robert Bigelow likes to say. If that is the case, whose side are you on? Are you on the side of the people, or are you on the side of the government? Because nothing is leading up to disclosure right now, Lee. Nothing. And people who've been following this topic, the hundreds of YouTube channels that are following this topic, the thousands of podcasts that are following this topic, radio shows like this one, which are following this topic. We should all be embarrassed for what they are doing. Okay? And when they talk about and I know I'm on a rant here, and I will let you respond in a second because you do need to talk. Your opinion is important. Okay? But when they talk about the fact that, we need more eyewitness testimony, whose testimony are you looking for? Okay? You're not taking the public's, who probably have, as Kirk McConnell stated back at their little conference that they had a month ago, we're not taking the public's. So what is the difference between what you shoot when you're out at Mount Baker in Washington State, Lee, which in my opinion is 10 times better than anything that we have seen in any of these tranches? Yet you're not called. Other UFO researchers aren't called. MUFON's not called. Newfork isn't called. Even that grotesque Enigma Labs is not called. But if you spent 10 minutes outside for a cigarette, like Dylan Borland did when he was in uniform, and God bless him for serving. Thank you for your service, Dylan Borland. And you go outside for a cigarette and you see a black triangle over top of you, over top of a military base that nobody is reacting to. All of a sudden, you're a government expert witness because you have the military badge on. What about the police officers? What about the airline pilots for American Airlines or Air Canada? Why aren't they called to the table? So they're either getting really crappy witnesses or it's a shell game. The confirmation.
I think what you're getting at here is the fact that it does seem to be a shell game at the moment. Like we were moving forward and all of a sudden we're kind of on this detour, but other witness testimony is important. And that's where those AI, or not AI necessarily, but those drawings, those sketches come from, is other people's experiences, right? So that's, to me, it's important. It's important information. But we're still looking for something tangible, something on the ground. It's disheartening, of course. I mean, we talk about this every time we get a new tranche. It seems like we talk about the same thing. But it really does seem like somebody's sandbagging right now.
Absolutely it does. Okay, absolutely. An AI rendering, I will say this, though, about this latest tranche. It seems to talk a lot about black triangles, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And the AI renderings are all about black triangles. And I'm not a fan of this. Give us the full laydown of the report. I'm not interested in seeing three dots that make a triangle in the sky that aren't even real. It's not evidence.
Well, hold on now. Just wait a minute for a second.
Sure.
You've got these three dots in the sky, right? You notice that there's no other stars in that triangle pattern, right? So it's blocking out, right?
Yes, there are.
Yeah, but not within the triangle, within the pattern of the triangle.
Yes, there are.
I can't see any on my
That's
screen.
why. Okay. So this image, this is what they wrote down at, if you want to look it up for yourself, the website is WAR, ufo. Page 2, first image. This image is an artistic interpretation of a reported incident potentially involving UAP, near Colorado Springs, Colorado, 2023. This image is based upon a first-hand description provided by a U.S. person as described in FBI UAP Delta 030. The Federal Bureau of Investigation prepared this digital rendering in 2026 as a visual aid in support of the Pursue initiative.
So I have seen this myself, the same sort of things scooting through the sky above where my friend and I were camped up on the top of the mountain. This thing scooted across the sky. So this tells me what I saw was not a figment of my imagination, that other people are this thing. And so if the public, Joe Blow, gets on here and takes a look and say, oh, I saw something kind of like that once. So that's good information for him, right? That's a little bit of confirmation. Maybe I should check out now. If I'm Joe Blow, now I should go through some of this other stuff and take a look and see, well, maybe this other stuff is real.
Look at you, Mr. Positive. We got 3 minutes to go before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Lee Strauss is our guest tonight on the Q&A. I agree with you on that point. I think you build a strong argument, Lee. I really do. I think that is a very strong argument. But for the most part, you and I will agree to disagree that AI renderings are not or are evidence or should be included in evidence. I think it's part of the game. I really do think it's part of the game. And I don't think it's healthy for us to sit here and debate this, because I think that's what they want. We're going to, because that's what we do.
It's absolutely what we do.
Right? But I think there's somebody in the Pentagon who's absolutely killing themselves laughing over this because they're playing a game with us. And I think that they don't even care.
Okay. Back when we had our last president, do you think any of this information would have come out? No, it wouldn't have. So we are moving forward, even though
I agree.
Even though it seems to be at a, not moving forward, we're just getting more information, but it's not moving the ball down the court here. We are stuck in this spot that we're in. But I think what you have, and we talked about this before, but I think you've got these two competing groups, right? Right now, it seems like a lot of this information is coming from reports and videos that the FBI has. 41, I think there was 41 files and videos and photos here from this latest tranche, but seems to be, from what I'm understanding, is most of this information, if not all, came from the FBI and stuff that they had. So I think, and I'm hoping eventually we'll get there where we're gonna see, a craft on the ground. It might be 4 tranches down the road, but they're trying to soften us up. And right now we're not moving forward, just getting more of the same. Yes, there is the videos that, they've been talking about that would make us stand on our ear. But I don't think they're going to show them to us right away. It's just going to take a while.
Maybe not. I'm going to get you to hold on right there as we are going to continue with Lee Strauss, the man, the myth, and the mystic legend, all wrapped into one. We always appreciate when Lee is here with us for the Q&A. We're going to go over a few videos. You won't see them on radio, but we'll break them all down to you as the Tranche 5 is up.
This is Spaced Out Radio. Your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we're clear.
Jackie, you're funny. You're funny.
I was just about to laugh at that one too. You're a weirdo, Jackie. Probably got 6 toes on your right foot.
Anyway, yeah. So I'm busy trying to build out the Forerunner so that, putting all the computer screens and everything, trying to get it all ready.
You're not going to have to sleep in your truck, dude.
When we're out in the woods, yeah.
No.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
No, we're not. Because I'm borrowing my buddy's trailer.
Okay. Well, whatever the case may be, it's.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to sleep in your truck, you go ahead. I figured we'd sleep in the trailer.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but we're planning on a night or two out there.
Yeah, so am I.
Good.
So am I.
Yeah, I got the camouflage tent thing where you can see out but you can't see in, sort of deal.
Well, where are you planning on camping? Up there?
Oh, out, yeah, pretty close.
Right there. What do you mean pretty close? Because
we're talking the main road, not going through the.
Oh, you want to camp there?
Yeah.
Right at the top of the gully.
Yeah.
You're crazy.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
I think hear me out on this one. Hear me out on this one. J Truth, there's no time to watch DVD movies at CaribouCon. Just come enjoy the woo, man. Come enjoy the woo. Unless at night you want to do that, wherever you're staying, buddy. No, but where we were going to put it, I think we can lure the Sasquatch to that campsite. I do. I think we can lure him there.
Well, which campsite are you talking about?
Well, there is a pullout in like an old gravel pit about 2 miles, 2.5 miles from the turnoff.
I don't know if Jackie's going to be okay with that. I get to blame her for everything. See?
Oh, I understand that.
She can't. She can't defend herself.
Well, that actually, you know what? That area where you want to stay in your vehicle, that area, when we got chased out in 2024, I brought Merle up. Samantha's vehicle was parked there.
Yeah.
I brought Merle up, and as I was concentrating on driving, he was looking at the vehicle, and he saw a silver person sitting in her vehicle.
That's right. I remember that story.
And then then the face disappeared. And then when he got when we unloaded my Jeep, because I had to go back and pick up the rest of the guys. Okay. He hopped in the truck. I was only gone for about 3 minutes. And he said there was like something that was surrounding him and knocking and tapping on her truck. Like he was literally scared. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So. Yes, 108 Golf Club Resort. That's the one. The Ferret is coming from Vancouver Island. La Ferret.
I just hope I don't fall asleep again. That's all.
You will.
No.
Well, on the flip side, I don't know how far my walkie-talkies go.
Mm-hmm.
But we can try those out too.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can definitely do that. I've got a lot of goodies to bring up, so.
Well, I'm going there this weekend. I skipped last weekend. Okay, here we go, buddy.
Yep.
This is the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us in. We're talking tranche number 5, released at war.gov/UFO. Lee, thank you so much for being here. We always appreciate it when you're on. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's get right to it.
All right, let's do it.
Tranche number 5. We're all happy about it. Why? I have no clue. Disappointment. Okay. I mean, if anything says coal in your stocking from Santa Claus, it's tranche number 5. It really is. I mean, remember how bad of a song Mambo number 5 was back in the 90s? That's tranche number 5 right there. Lou Vega is having a rolling over on his bed right now, somewhere in California, wondering how could somebody create tranche number 5 and make it as bad as Mambo number 5. I'm just saying.
He's forgetting this stuff just came. We weren't releasing this stuff a year ago, and here we go. We've gone so far.
Okay, what that statement of Lee says was that he was a big fan of the song Mambo number 5 back in his clubbing days. Cutting a rug, got your dance shoes on, your penny loafers on, Lee. Wearing your golf shorts and a tight golf shirt.
Yeah, with the gold chains.
And suspenders.
Well, I don't know about the suspenders.
I like a good pair of suspenders. I'm not going to lie. I don't own a pair. I still like a good pair of suspenders.
Let's go.
We got video. This video. Now, here's something when you go on to war.gov/UFO, you will notice something about the video footage here. And Lee, you said it right off the hop. These videos are not videos. They are videos of videos. Lee, explain that.
Yeah, so it looks like somebody has got a phone or some type of recording device in front of a computer monitor. So the monitor is actually askew at an angle to the camera. So it's totally distorted, that way, of course. And then we've got the shadow that's coming up from the corner, which is, yeah, but the video itself is interesting because you've got an object that's moving around in the center between looks like rifle sights, which it's not.
Correct. I just can't believe it. And you see, this is where my level of frustration goes into absolute eye rolling, sighing, and deep breathing exercises to calm myself down.
Yeah.
Why would they think? Who is the moron at the Pentagon who thinks that it is a good idea to put videos of videos on as evidence? This isn't evidence. It distorts everything, like you said. Okay? You're not shooting it straight to the front like I'm looking at you or you're looking at me if we're standing face to face.
Yeah.
No, we're on an angle. It's kind of like, chubby people like myself, when we take a selfie for Facebook, we hold the camera up on an angle a little bit so we don't get our double chin protruding. That's what they're doing here. They're holding it at an angle so you don't get the proper look of the video. And by the way, that isn't a shot at people who are overweight. That was a shot at myself. I'm self-deprecating that way. So just to clarify that, because some people are sensitive in this world. Okay. So Lee, I mean, the camera work here is bombastic, to say the
Right.
least.
Yes, yes, it is. They should have used a tripod if they were going to do this sort of thing. In fact, I wouldn't even have done it this way. It should have been uploaded as is onto the government website. It should not have been. Whatever this is garbage.
It is garbage. They should be embarrassed.
Yeah, yes, they should be.
So
Especially,
this,
I mean, they're supposed to be professionals, right? And this is what we're getting from the FBI. This is crap.
Yeah, but hey, Anna Paulina Luna tweets out after this comes out and says, "Look at this transparency that we're having. Where's the transparency?" Now, this particular video was taken over the Gulf of Oman, place that none of us will probably ever go unless we're in the military, from a Special Forces AC-130 gunship, which is one of the coolest airplanes in the arsenal of the United States Air Force. That thing is badass. And on a sidebar of that, if you've ever watched the video of an interview of this pilot where she going back to, I think it was either Afghanistan or it was in Afghanistan around 2002. She was piloting an AC-130 and some general nicknamed her the Angel of Death because he was insulting Taliban fighters by saying, "Look, America hates you so much they're sending their women over to come hunt you down." Right? And I guess that was meant over there, because we don't really understand that over here, but I guess that was meant as an insult, like you're dying at the hands of a woman. And over there misogyny runs big time overboard.
Yeah.
And so they nicknamed her the Angel of Death. So it was you got to hear her story of it. You can find it on YouTube. One of the great videos, I think, of a fighter pilot in the military that is out there. So anyway, it's taken. That was my sidebar because I love that story, by the way. Yeah, but it was taken and then brought back. They looked at the dot, couldn't identify the dot because that's all we get is dots. There is nothing on here, Lee, that is showing where it was taken, what altitude it was, what was the temperature, what country it was,
wind direction,
over water, what was the wind speed, what were the variables. None of that is on there in the 30-second video.
So what we are around within a crosshair. So deducing the information here that we have, we could say that the object is moving around and not the camera itself, because if the camera is fixed to an AC-130, which is a huge jet, by the way, yeah, that movement right there tells me that we're looking at something that is different, bizarre. The way it's moving, back and forth and back, zigzagging all over the place.
To me, that looks like a bug.
It
does. It looks like a bug.
It looks like a bug. You're right. It does, but a bug's not going to be.
But here's
that they're looking at and following with a gun camera.
But that's saying that we have to trust, Lee, that this is taken from an AC-130 Special Forces Operation aircraft on their radar guidance system, that they are picking up on FLIR, that we don't know where it's located. We don't know if they're on the ground. We don't know if they're in the sky.
They're in the sky above the water.
Well, that's what they're saying.
But the video shows that too.
Let's take another look here.
See, the water will come into view. There it is. Do you see the waves? And it clicks off.
Okay, I'll give you that one. Still a bug. All right. Yeah, because these are so pointed and professional. And they have about 10 videos of the exact same orb thing, or about 7 of them, the exact same orb thing that you're like, come on, guys, like, give me something better. Give me something better. I mean, it's heartbreaking. Here's another one that is taken from a cell phone from a video being played. And literally, it's a 1:04 video of an object that seems to shoot to the left, shoot to the right. It's like your prototypical orb is showing black, which would be the FLIR, correct, Lee?
Yeah, that's a FLIR camera. But it's would be considered the way that they're filming it would be considered a black hot.
Correct. Seems to be hovering there. Once again, we can't tell if it's an alien, a UFO, or a UAP from a military installation. This video was taken somewhere around over the Pacific Ocean in 2019. And it was delivered to the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, otherwise known as ARROW, in 2022. All they tell us is that it was taken on a military platform. Now, the last time they used the term military platform, it was from an airplane, it was from a jet, it was from a drone, it was from a ship. So they like to be real specific with what they're saying here. Right?
Yes. What they did is they blacked out everything around there, right around it. And they're just showing the movement of the object. So you can't discern, once again, what's the wind speed, what altitude, all of the other things that would be nice to know.
But yeah, I mean, here's another one. What they've done, though, is they've taken these lengthy videos and they broke them off into segments. So it looks like they're actually providing more instead of just one encounter.
Like 30-second clips.
Yeah. Or in this case, about a minute long.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they're grainy. You can't tell anything that you're looking at. It looks like it's raining on camera, or unless there's an infestation of locusts, to be blunt.
Well, that's waves. But yeah, it looked like it went into the water, which was interesting. But it's hard to discern.
It's terrible to discern. Then we go back to the Middle East, because you know what tranche wouldn't be a tranche without a UAP video from a war zone. And this one's allegedly taken at night, where it looks like jet engines, even though it might not be, because there is more of them. But what do you think of this video? This video contains 2 minutes, 32 seconds of footage captured by a handheld recording device by a U.S. military service member in 2019. Low light conditions.
This is a full color night vision, a rather old model, actually, probably is what it seems to me. It looks like we have 2 planes coming across the sky here, because each plane has 2 lights on the front.
Yes.
And I just saw one flash. The bottom one kind of flashed.
The bottom one is flashing like the strobe light on an aircraft.
Yeah. And so what happens if you are in front of an aircraft watching one come toward you, or go, you know, like it's going to the runway, but still toward you, those brighter lights of the landing lights will mask the red and the green.
Yes, it will. Once again, this video proves beyond a shadow of a doubt, UAP are man-made objects.
Yeah.
Man-made objects. I love it when we're right. I love it. How could you not love it? Well, let's go to this one here. So in this video, which lasts about 33 seconds, it's definitely taken from an airplane or something along those lines, which seems to be a black orb flying across the desert. This one was taken in the Middle East as well. That's all it says, Middle East 2023. And it looks like it's rolling through the sky, Lee, like a bowling ball.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It's so far away. It looks like it's something about the size of a pinhead moving across the screen.
Well, we do love our dots.
Yeah, once again, it's black hot. The background is very, very detailed, though. I'm impressed by that. Probably 1080 by 760, you know. And yeah, it's pretty well defined, but the problem again, we're looking at a ball, right?
Yes.
There's not a lot of information there.
Shogun in the chat room has an interesting question as we got about 5 minutes to go. Do you think they did the video of a video thing because then you don't have to worry about scrubbing the metadata of the OG video that's being taped? Lee, you'd know that better than I would.
It doesn't necessarily have to transfer. The metadata doesn't necessarily have to transfer. Usually the original file will have that metadata on it, depending on the platform that it was recorded on. Like your cell phone is going to have the metadata, most likely where you were, the time, and that type of information. But these platforms usually have a lot more, and it does look like they have quite a bit off to the corners and the sides here that are blacked out with the boxes. But generally speaking, there's probably not a whole lot of background metadata in the file, but I don't know for sure because I've never seen metadata from a, you know, a platform, let's say a government platform. I would imagine they keep most of that on the screen.
Lots of dots again, lots of Pong. If you remember the video game Pong, that's what it looks like. Literally. I mean, Lee, a lot of people will sit there and say in Radioland that maybe, just maybe you haven't, you're so upset about this that you're just making up, analogies of it. But literally, these videos look like Pong, most of them.
We can say that a lot of the reasons for this are because it's the slow drip of disclosures that needs to be done before they can show something major. But you notice that things are leaking out, not necessarily the videos that we want to leak out and the things that they're telling us that they've seen, but the things that they can leak out that aren't going to scare the public.
Well, nobody's going to get scared of dots. I mean, this is like eating baby food here. And baby food has more flavor.
A good analogy of basically eating baby food. That's kind
of baby food has more nutrition in it than this crap does. And once again, it looks like a cruise missile going past an oil ship.
No, you can't be, because you would be saying a major flare off the back of that, because you are recording in FLIR. That thing has no propulsion system that we know of. It's not emitting any type of heat signature off the back. So that tells me right there that thing is under some sort of power that we're not familiar with, right? Or that camera's not picking up. It's not picking it up. So
When I see rods flying over ships along the water, there's been a lot of cruise missile sightings that look like that. And the further it gets away, the more it starts to look like a dot.
Yeah, I don't think that's a cruise missile because we would be seeing a lot more heat off the back end.
Not if it's a stealth one.
So you're saying it could be masking?
But
you would see a trail.
I have no idea. I'm just being contrary right now.
You're contrarian, yeah.
I am a contrarian, and I've never used the word contrarian on this show. We got about a minute to go here.
Oh, it's just me. What the heck happened to Dave? Did he get shut down?
And we look at the tranches, Lee, that could be something special. Okay. Yet for people, even the most layman person looking into this subject for the first time is going to sit there and say, what is that? This proves nothing. And then turn the channel. Are we at a point right now? We can't even get into that because we are running out of time. But I think the more and more, and I said it the last time and I'll say it again, UFO community is being played. They're being played. That's where I'm going to leave my statement at.
I'm going to tell you one thing real quick. I've been watching news reports. There's more people talking about this subject than ever before.
That is the benefit. That is the benefit. But how much knowledge do they have? Only Dr. Phil knows. And on that note, Lee Strauss, thank you for coming back on Spaced Out Radio, my friend. We will talk to you next week. As we say hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw, rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, Elga, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, Space Travelers Club, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyrighted by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us. Because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Publish. Yeah, let's type these. All right. Good job, Extra Small.
Ah, man, it's just the same old, my friend, with these tranches like that. I mean, we have the same discussion just about every time when they come out. But I think eventually there's going to be something that really knocks our socks off. We just have to get there. Just have to get there.
All right. Let's push that over here. Push that over here.
However, I don't see that if JD Vance gets into the presidency that this will continue. I don't think it will.
No, I don't think there's anybody else who could get in there that would push it. Except
No, I don't think so.
Except the potential Democratic wild carded John Fetterman.
You know, I haven't heard him talk on UFOs.
But he has a good shorts collection.
Yeah, you definitely need a wild card in there, that's for sure. I mean, somebody that really upsets the apple cart.
And you know what? I mean, the reality of it, and let's just be honest. If the current sitting president wanted to do it, the best time for him to do it is right when he's about to leave office.
Yeah.
Because he can pardon himself. Can he not?
There you go. Well, these people, these individuals from government agencies are supposed to be pardoned if they're coming out with this information.
Yeah, could be.
Well, they're working on the bill. Again, they're trying to get it passed.
We're always
but,
working on the bill.
Yeah. To you and me and everybody else, it just seems so freaking easy. And apparently it's just not. I mean, I don't know the kind of red tape that they have to cut through. I have no idea.
Oh, none of us do. You're absolutely right. None of us know. But at the rate we're going right now, we will get to, I mean, when they're now cutting videos up in 7 different segments of the same object, and realistically, there was only about 5 videos on there. The rest were all cut-ups from other videos. You're literally bringing this out, disclosure 2135. At the rate and speed they're going. It really is ridiculous.
No, they need to get it out in the next 2 years because I don't think it's going to go anywhere with the next.
Well, and I think the only way that happens, is if the wild card decides that as he's leaving office, that he's going to disclose what he knows, or come very dangerously close to it. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, for me and millions of other people, I think disclosure's already been made, but
absolutely. People like you and me and our great listeners, they don't need it because they already know.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is there's about 7 billion, 7.5, 8 billion other people who either don't know, don't care, or have been living in a jungle. And I mean that not insultingly.
Yeah, we talked about the fact that people are concerned about the gas prices and the food bills and the grocery bills or whatever, the power bill and all that. But this is something so huge, so monumental.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest story that has not fully been told. And there's so much to unpack, right? It goes off in so many different directions, and there's so many parts to it.
You're the best non-moving part there, Lee. Just saying. You're the best non-moving part. I'm a big fan of yours.
My gear is stuck in stop.
All I know is that J Truth Seeker wants a picture with you.
We'll get pictures with everybody at the event. Heck yeah. We're going to have somebody signing autographs.
That'll be Jackie Harmon's job because she'll seal everyone with a kiss of the piece of paper. That's how Jackie signs a poster. She doesn't sign it with her hand. She just takes lipstick and goes, mwah. All she does. Where the hell am I here? Right there. Oh, I got to shut this computer down.
Anyway, my friend, I am going to talk to you all later.
Are you going to bed, actually?
I am going to bed, yeah.
But you've only been up for 22 hours?
No, I'm going to go to bed so that I can get up and go hiking tomorrow.
Oh, you're going hiking tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Where are we hiking?
Out of Hamma, which is...
What the hell is a Hamma?
Wouldn't you like to know? No, Hamma is on the Olympic Peninsula.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got great oysters out there, my friend.
Oh, cool. Well, I hope you have fun.
Yeah.
I hope you do. All right, buddy. I always hate saying goodbye to you.
Oh, you're only a text away.
To Lee Strauss, wherein he goes and eats pie. I don't know. All right, Lee. There we go. There we go. And then there was me. Just me. Just me. Just me. I have an itchy ear. I'm trying to hurry this up so I can eat my ice cream. I got ice cream up in the freezer right now. It's called Shark Attack. It's friggin' good. I'm going to pound that sucker when I get upstairs. No Lucky Charms tonight. No Lucky Charms tonight. It's got to be a BC thing. Paramarv, trust me on that one. It's a good ice cream. And the grocery store just down the road from the hotel has it. Fire report. Heavy smoke again today. Let's see if we can get an update here. Yeah, we can get an update. I'm looking. Give me 2 seconds here. Smoky as hell right now. I can tell you that. Not a fan of it. Really not a fan of it. Read into these firefighters today, putting in 15 hours a day. Excuse me. Excuse me. Joseph Smith, how are you? What's happening, buddy? Let's see here. What am I doing? Right there. That's where I'm going. All right, guys. I'm going to get going here, but thank you so much for everybody who given us the thumbs up. And don't forget to share the show. I'll be back on Monday. We are in the process, just to give you an update. We are in the process of getting Everett set up. We did a bunch of work yesterday on his setup. We're going to continue that in the next couple days here and probably this week. So hopefully we could get him up and running probably by late in the month. And then we will be back to 7 days a week here on the show. I know you're excited. I'm excited too. Everett's going to do a great job. He really is. No Walter on Fridays. No Walter M. Sterling's on Fridays. That's okay. Dave's allowed a break. Every now and again, Dave is allowed a break. So it's all good. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. Monday night, I can't even show you. My email is down right now. But Monday night, we will see you then. and we will have a plethora of guests that will make it nice and fun for you. Much love, everybody. See you soon. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there. And have a good night.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.